Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, gals and pals, holes and poles. I'm your host, the Armchair Grum, and we're here cracking some more packs. We just did a video for regular packs. We got ourselves some here packs for March of the Machine. These are Mythic packs. Doo-doo-doo. Again, please don't buy packs. It's just not worth your money. Just like in Paper Magic, always buy singles. Don't buy packs. Packs are for drafting. Packs aren't for, just use the coins that you earn. As you can see, all these gems here I've actually earned on via playing games. By doing drafts and stuff. Use your coins to enter like drafts that are worth like 10,000. You can pay like 10,000 coins, which you can get easily within a week if you play. Just do your rewards every day and do a couple hundred. Do the first couple quests, or get your first couple wins, which are like a couple hundred gold every day. Takes about 20 minutes. I know not everyone has time to play, so it might take you a little bit longer. But, if you get your 10,000 and then enter and get about four wins, you get yourself a neat little 700 or so coins here, and then you can, those gems easily get you towards the things like the earning towards this, which is, I have to admit, the season pass thing is a pretty good reward system. Get you lots of packs and card styles and all that kind of stuff. A lot of free packs and all that. So, but until they say introduce getting a digital pack with every physical pack that you buy, I definitely don't think it's worth buying packs for only digital goods. If you got a digital pack with every physical pack, or the cards that are in the physical packs for MTG Arena, I would be all over buying physical packs. But just buying digital goods, it isn't worth it. I'm just telling you. I guess if you have the money to spend, do as you will. But especially if you don't have the money to spend, or you're a younger kid, I'm not cracking these packs to try and get you people to buy and spend. We're just doing this to kind of get rid of that cardboard crack urge even I have to crack packs. It's just fun, I know. So let's go ahead and get into it. The other thing too is, obviously, these are rewards that I've earned up over time, and from buying them with the gold that you earn up from just playing. So that's always I think the best way to do it. Just play the game and you earn rewards. So they do generously reward you in here, and I do think that's not bad. As you can see, all of this is free stuff. I have not paid a single penny or dime, so let's go ahead and get into it. Now, these are Mythic packs, so we should be getting one Mythic in every single pack. Question is, I was going to say, no, okay, I wasn't sure if we get a rare and a Mythic, but I think we're guaranteed a Mythic in the rare slot. Also, we're opening these packs, of course. I'm doing this video because I'm very much interested. I haven't checked out the set at all. We're doing it via these pack openings. So I know a lot of people probably haven't done, are just either getting into Arena or playing it like I am. And so we are checking it out via just opening the packs rather than going to like a Magic spoiler or something like that. Because I've been kind of out of Magic, so I'm just reading the cards right through the pack opening, so let's get on to it. So this is a new one, Invasion of Kamigawa. No, my favorite set of all time. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play with it, but I'm a little bit of a weeb, and I loved the original Kamigawa. The idea of the Spirit War and everything was really cool. So, 4 mana for an uncommon, 3 in blue. When Invasion of Kamigawa enters battlefield, tap target artifact or creature an opponent controls and put a stun counter on it. That's not very good for 4 mana. And then if you do 4 damage to the battle, you get a flying creature, Moonfolk Ninja. Always love the Moonfolks. But they're also ninjas. When at Rooftop, Saboteur deals combat damage to a player or battle, draw a card. Some of these uncommon battles seem fairly overpriced, especially since you have to do 4 damage to it. Really feels like Invasion of Kamigawa should be 2 damage. I mean 2 damage. Yeah, either 2 damage for the price of it, or for what it does. It should only be 2 mana, 1 and a blue, to tap a creature and put a stun counter. So if take something out for 2 turns. Because you can still, even with a stun counter, that is weird. That is a weird creature. Stun counter. If a permanent with a stun counter would become untapped, yeah. So you can still use activated abilities, except tapped abilities. I guess you can't use tapped abilities because if it would become untapped, remove a stun counter from it instead. So, all right. So that's the first one of those. Then we got Etched Familiar. I like the art on that, dude. If this could have been, I know it probably isn't, but I would have loved. I love this art on this card. This is a cool Phyrexian Fox. Oh, it's cool looking. I would have loved this to be the next Voltic Scourge. It's the one in a Phyrexian mana. It used to be in the Affinity deck for Modern. Yeah, I think it's actually. Do I have? No, I did. I had my Affinity deck literally just behind me the other day, but I put them all away once some family came over to clean up the place. So, yeah, but I think it's Voltaic Scourge. And I just like the art on this. I really wanted it. It reminded me because it's also a black artifact. That's 1 in a Phyrexian black for a 1/1 creature flying lifelink. But I wanted this to be kind of the new one. When Etched Familiar dies, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Wait, is this the Phyrexian version? There's another familiar, right? It's whenever it dies, each player draws a card, or when it enters the battlefield, each player draws a card. And it's an artifact fox, right? For 3 mana, it's 3 colorless. That's an uncommon, I think. I'd have to check. I think there is. I think this is kind of the Phyrexian version of that fox. I wonder if it even looks like it has the filigree in the ears of that same fox. I think that is. This is This is the fox converted into the Phyrexian. That's kind of scary, but kind of cool at the same time. So we've already gotten one of these, but I can't remember it. Furnace Reigns, 2 in red. Gain control of target creature till end of turn. Untap it until end of turn. It gains haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, create a treasure token. That's a pretty good gain control. Because dealing damage, gaining treasure tokens, so you get mana back. Why is this uncommon? Oh, it's not. It's common. Okay. That is a fucked up. Oh, okay. Wait. It still looks weird. I'm sorry, dude. Whoever did this art. Maybe it's because the head's so big. I get it. Like, the one on the right makes more sense to me. But with the one on the left, with the left leg coming up in the air, it looks like the body is just all wrong. But the one on the right, with the right leg coming up in the air, it makes more sense because you can see the leg extended. Yeah, the one on the left just looks all fucked up. I know the head's bigger and stuff, but the proportions. I don't think it looks terrible. I think it's just the way the head is blocking the rest of the body and the leg and stuff. It unfortunately, it's just one of those awkward positions kind of things where the right one, the legs are all down and the right leg is easily noticeable, so it's not blocking as much. I don't think this is a pauper card, unfortunately. There are some decent commons. Kite Sail, equipped creature gets +1/+0, has flying, equipped 2. I think that's a reprint, right? That's from Zendikar. Infected Defector, 4 in a white. It dies, incubate 3. We've had this before, But Jury Master of the Review, legendary, red black. Whenever you sack a permanent, put a 1/1 counter on Master of the Review, it dies. It deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's definitely part of a sack deck, which kind of scares me because we have lots of red black sack going around. In Historic, I wonder if this will become any part of that at all. I know it's legendary, but even if you play like a 2 of, this could easily become a very nasty, like throw like a 5/5 or 8, you know, like 8 damage to your face kind of thing. It makes me think of the Dread Horde Arcanist. No, that's the one that brings back stuff from the graveyard. There's another one. There's a red-black one. Whenever it deals damage to a player, you get it gets a 1/1 counter and it has haste. And then whenever it dies, it deals as much damage to any target that you want. It deals damage equal to its power to any target. So it's similar, but obviously this cares about sack. That other one cares about hitting people in the face as fast as possible. So, well, I definitely could see this as like a 2 of kind of card. But I wonder what I don't play the red-black sack deck, so I don't know what's in the deck that I might slot out. This is our second Monetary Mentor. I'm very happy they finally did a reprint of this card. I don't think it was worth that much. I wasn't paying attention to the cost, though. I think it was worth around $20, unless it had gone up again for some reason. Maybe it was like a $30 card. But still, I think it's a good reprint. It is a decent card. It's also a very good engine. You imagine, I think this card, if you play this card in the Shark, so you have this card, and then, yeah, the new Shark that lets you get incubate tokens for X whenever you cast a non-creature spell, where X is that non-creature spell's mana value. Like a blue-white deck of some sort. Like, I think it's going to be nasty. So, I'll be honest, for the cost. Ooh, we got a double Mythic pack. Nice. To be honest, for the value, for just 3,000 more coins, I think this is these Mythic ones aren't bad. And I think if you fill up on the Mythic, do you get rare? I wonder what happens if you fill up on them. So if you get all the Mythics, all the Mythic cards, what happens? What do you get? Do you get wild cards? Do you start getting wild cards? I don't know. We'd have to find out eventually. It'd be interesting to try and figure that out. I might just start buying only Mythic packs and try to get all Mythics and then see what we get. Do we start just getting Mythic wild cards? Do we start getting rare wild cards? What do we get? Jin Kataxis. So we got an extra Mythic. That's great, of course. 5 mana. Phyrexian Praetor. It's 3 blue. Ward 2. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, draw a card. 3 and a blue. Exile Jin Kataxis, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. And only if you have 7 or more cards in hand. Okay. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size for as long as you control the Great Synthesis. Return all non-Phyrexian creatures to their owner's hands. You may cast any number of spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. Exile the Great Synthesis and return it to the battlefield. That's pretty nasty. No, this doesn't have Rita Head though, so that's nice. Yeah, this is a great commander card. I don't know about... I wonder what it's going to be like in... I just had a brain freeze. Like, I had a thought process and then psh, it just went right out of my head. I don't remember what I was even thinking. But there are a lot of decks that are going to want this. I don't know about Standard, and I don't know about Historic or Explorer. I mean, it definitely feels like a build-around card. So, So it looks like we have the rest of these. Halo Hopper, Convoke 3/2. This would be an interesting Pauper card. I know it's Convoke instead of Affinity, but you could easily get a lot with Affinity. You get a lot of creatures on the field, and then you just tap them. With you could just since you have Convoke, you tap them, get a free 3/2 creature. So I definitely feel like this is a decent. This could be an interesting card with the fact that they took out the Sojourner from the Affinity deck. So I would like to try that in the deck. I know you have to tap them, so they're not untapped to block, but you just dump a whole bunch of creatures with Affinity and stuff, and then you tap them to get another creature. They basically turn into mana, so... 2-drop, 3/1, enters the battlefield or dies, surveil 1. That could be an interesting Pauper card. Meeting of the Minds, Convoke, draw 2. I don't know if that's a Pauper card or not, to be fair. I mean, Convoke is pretty powerful, but it requires creature on the battlefield versus things like Delve, where your graveyard is basically mana for, fuels your mana base. So, Halo Forager, enters the battlefield, you may pay X. When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value X from your graveyard without paying its cost. If that spell would be put into graveyard exile instead. It's kind of a flying version of Snapcaster, except no snap. And you also have to pay the cost. I mean, when ETBs, you get a trigger and you have to pay it right away. So if this ETBs, you get a trigger on the stack, right? Even if this card dies, this creature, Halo Forager, you still get to... It still goes... The thing on the stack still goes off. Even if the creature goes off, even if the creature dies, you still get the spell. Okay, so creature ETBs. Enters the battlefield, trigger. You may pay X. Okay? So this enters the battlefield, trigger, goes on the stack. They kill this in response. You still have the trigger on the stack. You may pay X. It's got a period, though. The rest of it doesn't follow. I think that's how it works. I might be wrong. I have to check. So, trigger goes on the stack for paying X, and then the rest of it resolves. Because it says when you do, then the X resolves. The card has to be on the battlefield for the rest of the card to happen. So they could kill it in response. You have the pay cost on the stack, right? And then you would say, well, no, the card is no longer on the battlefield, so I can't. The card's going to then check to see how much you paid and then snag the card out of your graveyard. I think you do need the Halo Forager on the battlefield. I'll have to check Wizards' rulings on this. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. If it was all one sentence, it would happen all at once, and the whole paragraph would basically go on the, like, all the way down to cast it without paying its mana cost. But I think it checks to see if the creature's here to do the rest of the thing when you pay the X. No, when you do, when it enters the battlefield, you may pay X. Period. I think it needs to be one sentence. Because I think it checks to see... I'd have to check. I think the card needs to be there for the rest of it to resolve. That's one thing... Like, I might never be able to be a judge unless I memorized all those things. It's just easier for me to check the rulings and then be like, nope, that card. Oh, here we go. Look at this art, though. That's cool. Skithiryx, the Blight Dragon, a 3 black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Dragon Skeleton. Flying, Infect. Skithiryx, the Blight Dragon, gains haste till end of turn. Black, regenerate Skithiryx. This definitely feels like a playable creature. Definitely a commander creature for sure. I know it's legendary, but 4/4 for 5, flying, infect, and then if you have one more mana, gives it haste. It feels like this is definitely a creature for mono black control. Like maybe, I mean, is Phyrexian Obliterator always played over this? Just because you can regenerate this also? Or is it something like maybe you play like a 2-of kind of scenario? It has regenerate, so you could wrap the field, destroy all creatures, and still keep it. Well, I think we still got 2 good rare. I mean, it's 2 mythics. I like the cards we got, at least. I like the fact that we got the alternate art, too. Dude, are these always going to come with 2 No, because the first one we got didn't have 2 mythics. But we got 2 packs with double mythics. Awesome. Maybe I should just always get the mythic ones. Kroxa and Kunaros. Kroxa is the one with the 13 hands or something, isn't it? I can't remember. 3 red, white, black. Alright. So we're in Mardu. Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. Elder Giant Dog 6/6. I actually like these like 2 creatures working together kind of thing, except the Vampire Dinosaur one. They did not think about that one Planeswalker. I can't remember. The Vampire Planeswalker that just lets you put a vampire into play. It lets you put a 12/12 Vampire Dinosaur into play for like -2. It doesn't even get rid of the Planeswalker. It's like, oh, turn 3, -2, here's a 12/12 life-linking vampire dinosaur with menace or something. That's why I definitely think like they should ban certain card combo. Instead of banning cards, you just can't have two cards in the same deck together. Like if you want to stop a combo, if you want to stop certain engines, something like that, they should really try, especially in Arena, not allowing people to have 2 certain cards in the same deck together. Say you can't have, I don't know, Faithless Looting in a deck with I can't remember, but there's a card that every time it's an artifact card that every time you discard a card, it costs two colorless less to play. So you can easily cast it for 1 mana all the time or 2 mana all the time, and it's like a 4/4. It just makes it cost a lot cheaper, and you can just dump them out of your hand all the time with Faithless Looting. Basically card combinations. That way, Faithless Looting is still playable in a lot of decks. You can use it, but a certain combination of cards where they work in cohesion together too well. That's why like things like Mox Opal, maybe it works too good in the Affinity deck, or with too good with, say, Urza, or some other artifact generating creature or card, right? So make it so Urza and Mox Opal can't be in the same deck together. The original Affinity deck can still play it then, because I don't think that deck is too powerful with Mox Opal. But then when Urza came around with Mox Opal, and all the other Affinity deck, all the other artifacts that they printed, like Arkham's Astrolabe and all the other ones, then all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, too much. So I think banning card combinations over banning cards altogether, because certain cards combination, a single card on its own isn't particularly utterly busted, unless you're talking about maybe there would be far fewer cards banned altogether. Say like I can't remember the green blue planeswalker that produces food tokens and elks. I can't remember his name. He was back in the King Arthur set that was all about fairy tales and stuff. Rio, I can't remember his name. He's 1 green blue. He's like +2 create a food token, -1 no +1 turn it something turn a food token into a 3/3, or turn a creature into a 3/3, or turn something into a food token. I don't know, something like that. He got banned in pretty much everything. So maybe that one is like, sometimes they are too powerful just because of what they do. Like, they don't need protection or something like that. I can understand there are maybe busted cards. The power 10, right? Not power 10, the power 9. The power 9 maybe still need, even then, see, that's why in Vintage, they're restricted. Like, even then, they're not completely banned in the older formats. They're restricted. So, to one card. But I think they could try in the newer ones, especially on MTG Arena. It'd be interesting to see, starting with one format, instead of banning cards, not restricting them to one. That could be one thing they could try too. But also restricting card combinations. Or banning card combinations. And it would be easy to check. Arena would say, no, you have these two cards in a deck together. You can't do that. You can only have one or the other. I think that's very valid, and it would make it so you could. It would be less of a hurt if you stop two card combinations, because people could still brew around that card, and it could still have decks, and the value of said card could still work. I know your certain decks would still like disappear, right? Like, say, I don't know, Twin, Splinter Twin might disappear or something, but another deck might arise, Kiki Jiki Splinter or something that's a little slower, or Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker Splinter Twin might arise or something, stuff like that. Same thing with like Birthing Pod. I don't know if Birthing Pod's been unbanned or not, but I think it was. I haven't played Modern in a while. But Birthing Pod, honestly, don't feel it needed to be banned. I think certain cards simply shouldn't have been able to be in the deck with Birthing Pod because of the way how much of a toolkit it was. They should have said, okay, you only have one copy of this, this, and this. No, those have to be either restricted to sideboard for your first game, or you simply can't include those in the deck. Birthing Pod can't be in the deck with this card or that card. They have to be another card that maybe does something similar, but isn't at the same value count, so you can't simply search them out with Birthing Pod. Like, they had a lot of cards that were specifically at 2 mana that did something, or 3 mana that did something. And if you said, nope, can't be in the same deck with Birthing Pod, they would have to find another card specifically that was at a different mana value, most likely. Maybe there are a lot of cards at the same mana value. But they might have, you would say, nope, you have to, like, the cards have to be at different mana values. So you can't toolkit every single situation that you could think of. And simply, like, Birthing Pod is probably maybe one of those cards that represents a lot, because there's so many abilities stapled onto creatures, like ETB and stuff. But there's a lot of cards I think that would work with, saying you can't have these combinations together. Anyways, that's my little spiel. I'll stop now. But anyways, I like these combinations, like right here. But that's exactly right. Like, you have a 3-drop. There's a vampire dinosaur creature that's like costs like 8 mana or 7 mana or something. That's a 12/12 menace lifelinker or something like that, or trampling lifelinker. And then you have a 3 mana planeswalker that has a neg ability that doesn't even kill the planeswalker. It's like neg 2, and he has 3 loyalty on him, so he's still alive afterwards. And you just put a 12/12 vampire that normally costs like 7 or 8 mana into play with like trample and lifelink, or menace and lifelink, or something. Either A, they really aren't thinking about the sets that they just put out, because the vampire had recently been put out within the last year or two. Within the last couple of years, I should say. They really aren't thinking about those card combinations, or they need to give themselves a little more wiggle room, which is, I think, having certain card combinations, like not allowing 2 cards together in the same deck rather than outright banning them, if those card combinations are too powerful. And I think having 3 mana, you know, just like, oh, I have this card in my hand and this card in my hand for 3 mana. If I don't have hand disruption, right, or a counter spell, he just gets a 12/12. And there's like all you can say, oh yeah, it dies to removal. That's not a thing. Like, don't give me that bullshit. You know how often you just don't have removal, even if your deck has removal. It's just like, oh, but there's the reason why you have a mana or you have a converted mana cost, right? There's a reason why it's costed at 6 or 7 or 8, because that's kind of the idea of when it should be coming out. Now, if you build the deck around trying to get it out, but you shouldn't be bringing it out on turn 3 with 1 card. Yeah. Anyways, spiel over. Kroxa in Kunaros, 6/6 for 6. Vigilant, spin its lifelink. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. This at least gives you a turn. This at least gives you a turn to deal with it. It doesn't have haste, which they could have given it haste instead of what, Menace? Yeah, Menace is probably the red one. Vigilance is white. Lifelink could be black or white, but black also. So it gives you a turn. You see it played. It could give you a turn. This could be a fun recursion commander. And the rest of these we've had before, but I'll go over them real quick. Cosmic Hunter, it's just a one-sided fight. That's probably better than most of the older fights. You can hit a creature, a planeswalker, or a battle. So you can fight a battle now, too. This is one I think that actually might be decent in a sack deck, because you get a sack trigger by 1. You do have to tap it, so if you have an untap ability somewhere, that's pretty good. But it also replenishes whatever you sacrificed, either an artifact or a creature, with an incubate token, which you can then sacrifice again next turn, which then gives you another incubate token. So each turn, you get to sacrifice the same thing to replenish, and it replaces itself with another token for you to sacrifice again. So, like, just every turn you get sack triggers. This actually looks like it might be a popper card. Turkir Dune Shaper. Dog Warrior isn't a very significant at least in Pauper that I know of. But for 4 and a Phyrexian green, you can transform it into a 4/3 late game for trample. It's basically like turn 1, like early game, you get a 1/2. Late game, you get a 4/3 trampler for 4 mana. Because you just pay 2 life for the Phyrexian. There's no downside other than the life. So unless you don't have 2 life, you're paying the Phyrexian 2, most likely, unless you don't have anything to play. So, yeah. Early game, it's a 1/2. Late game, it's a 4/3 trampler. This seems like a pretty good popper card for like a mono white stompy of some sort. Skittering Surveyor is just a worse Pilgrim's Eye, I think. Obviously, just enter the battlefield, 2 color tap lands that give you a life. And this one, I don't think is really going to be played anywhere. Enters the battlefield, gain 5 life, and incubate 5s, unless you really need the 5 life. Like, if you got like a life gain token deck in Commander or something, maybe. And then in Phyrexians, you control have reach. I get incubate 5, but if it was Phyrexians, you control have trample. I see that more prevalent. I know it doesn't make sense to maybe the art, but the art would be different. But trample, I don't know about the reach. I mean, reach isn't a terrible thing. All right, let's get that. Dude! Now, we've got another cool... I think all of these have been some sort of unique art so far. I don't know if it's just the Mythic packs or if we're getting... Wait. Claw of Progress? This is a reprint, but was this also in the set? Wait, I'm confused. What kind of... So, is this from the set, but this is a Commander reprint that you could get in the packs? I'm very confused on what this symbol is. is this an actual reprint you could get in actual packs? Like, is this in standard right now? Is experience count? Because, like, this is an experience. Like, the experience counter thing was only a commander thing. But do they have it in standard now? That would be interesting. Because you get experience counters, and then if you get another Azuri Claw Progress, it automatically has... I mean, you have the experience counters, so if you get 3 experience counters with the first one, the next one comes in, and it's automatically triggering, like, it's starting with 3 experience counters, because you have them. Beginning of okay. When a creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield and under your control, you get an experience counter. Beginning of combat on your turn, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control, where X is the number of experience counters you have. I'd have to check. These might just be a reprint thing in order to get the cards into Arena. But maybe these are also reprints that you can find in the packs, but not standard. They've done that before. This might be like, what are they called? Because of the art, these also might be like, whatever they're called. You know, the really fancy cards. They're not standard playable, but you'll find them in the packs, every so many packs. But since I bought Mythic packs, I'm getting them. I'm still fine with it. It'll be interesting to play in, like, other sets. Yeah, we got more Mythics, so I'll take it. Invasion of New Phyrexia. When Invasion of New Phyrexia enters the battlefield, create X 2/2 white and blue creature tokens with vigilance. Alright. I mean, it's a slightly different version of... No, it's just a token generator. I mean, that's not bad. 4 mana, you get 4 power and toughness. For 5 mana, you get 6 power and toughness. So eventually, you know, it gets better as you put more mana into it. And then if you deal 6 damage to it, you get Teferi Akosa. Is that his last name? Akosa? Teferi Akosa of Zalfir. +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. You get an emblem with knights you control. Oh, he's totally different. He's a knight. He's a knight enabler. -2, you get an emblem with knights you control. Get +1/+0 and have ward 1. -3, tap X untapped creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent and opponent controls with a mana value X or less into its owner's library. I actually like this card quite a bit. I mean, I would play it for the front side alone, creating X 2/2 white. Like, there was a blue-white control deck that used to play, I can't remember what, Martial Coup. Now, obviously, when you play Martial Coup, if Martial Coup was X white, if X was 5 or more, so create X 1/1 soldier tokens or something tokens. I think they were soldier. And then if X was 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So if it was 7 total mana, destroy all other creatures and then put 5 1/1s on the field. But my point being is this is just a good token generator on the front side. And then does this want to be like in a blue-white go wide deck kind of thing? And then the flip side, I mean, it's just upside. Like just the front side is just shitting out a whole bunch of 2/2 vigilant tokens. And then you possibly get a planeswalker on the other side that just makes all of them amazing. I think it's going to be a great commander card. The question where it plays in standard, I have no idea. Is this a new card? Yeah, this is our first one. This one, I have no idea where this is. What the fuck are they eating? It looks like that dinosaur is eating. Like, that is a weird picture. Oh, it's biting. Okay, it's biting. I thought it was like swallowing it whole, but it looks like it's kind of biting it from the side. That's what it looks like. Invasion of Muraganda. That's a cool name. Yeah, I don't think we've been to this plains before, but it looks like it has dinosaurs. Lots of cool looking dinosaurs. It's weird. I love this picture. There's 2 dinosaurs, like T-Rexy looking guys. One's getting eaten by the worm, and the other one's attacking the worm. And then in the background, There's like this slime creature, like kind of just like creeping through. When Invasion of Murgon enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights up to one target creature you control. Now that costs 5 mana, 400 green, 6 counters on it for the battle, and then it turns into Primordial Plasm. At the beginning of combat on your turn, the target creature gets +2/+2 and loses all abilities till end of turn. It's a 4/4. I don't think so. Now, if it started producing if it started producing 1/1 counters, the plasma, or if it grew based on counters or something, maybe. But the +2/+2 and loses all abilities, I don't think so. I mean, the lose all abilities is kind of interesting, but unfortunately, it also pumps it. It is kind of funny how it's in the background, wandering along, and then all of a sudden it's in the foreground. Like the it's like it made it all the way like through the dinosaur age, and now it's like here in the current age. Like it looks more developed. Like the background, it looks like it's got no head, and the arms are barely there, and it's kind of funny. All right, we got Swiftwater Cliffs. That's a reprint. I have that in my commander deck. Furnace Rains, we already know that. We got a common. Mirrored Avenged. I think this is going to be a great popper card, just because it's a kill. You block with a 1/1, or you deal damage in any way, do 1 damage, any kind, and then you kill it for 1 mana and draw a card. Jungle Hollow. Man, we got a lot of lands. What? We got another Skithirex. I mean, that's it. I'm not upset. So far, I think all of these have been alternate arts. So, all right, we got. How many mythics are there? Because we've got double mythics already. Kind of surprised. Harriet Artisan. For 2 and a 3, haste transforms into a 3/4. Phyrexian Artificer. Flying in haste. Unfortunately, if it was a 2-drop, like a 2/2 2-drop or a 2/1 2-drop, I could see this being playable. But for 3, unfortunately, no. Vengeant Earth. I always like these cards. Target creature or land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental. With haste, in addition to its other types, it must be blocked this turn. Fable. I think this is a popper card that I want to try out. Just for the sack draw card. Ephara's Dispersal? 2 and a blue. The spell costs 2 less. If it's targets an attacking creature, return target creature to its owner's hand, surveil 2. That seems like a good popper card. Even a playable somewhere else, because you're probably, I mean, there's times you won't be targeting, but I think I would normally be targeting a popper card. Mirror Shield Hoplite, red-blue, Vigilance 2/2. Whenever a creature you control becomes the target of backup ability, copy that. Okay, this is the one. Copy the backup ability. I don't think backup's so prevalent, and I haven't seen it on enough good cards. That was backup in the previous set as well. I didn't open many packs of the previous set. I'd have to see. Because, I mean, if it was, you don't have to pay anything to trigger it. So we got another Kroxa and Kunros. Unfortunately, I like the card. It's probably a commander card, but I don't see it, like, unless we're going to cheat it out or something. 6/6 for 6, Vigilance, Menace, Lifelink. Ooh, Vornaclock's Voice of Hunger, 6 mana. 6, 7, 8 mana, sorry. I think this was something in one of the Storm of the Festival decks that I played against had this, but maybe it was a different one. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type. That land. Oh, this is the original one. And produced whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap, turn its controller's untap step. Yeah, I think he did play this one, but I don't think he played this art. That's a good one, by the way. The original ones are amazingly good. But that would be a group. I don't think you can snag that with Storm the Festival, but with the Nykthos in the decks, the Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, you can easily get enough mana to play it. It was 8 mana. It was 8 mana? Yeah, you could definitely. So we've had this before. Oh, this is the first, after so many packs, this is the first one we've had that didn't have us 2 mythics. Tina Soul Steeper. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1, sack another creature. This card gets +X/+O till end of turn, where X is the sacked creature's power. Interesting. Shivan Branch Burner, 7 mana, 5 red. Convoke Flying Haste. I think it's too much mana. I don't think there's any red decks that would want to play that. Flying Haste is nice, but even if you want to be attacking with all your creatures, you don't want to be using them for mana. No. I do like this one, though. I think it's this one. Is this the Merfolk? 2-drop, 2/1 flyer. Merfolk Scout. For 5 mana, 4 Phyrexian green. Transform it. When this creature, it's sorcery speed, of course. And then its flip side is a 2/4, so it gets +3 in the butt. Unfortunately, no extra power. Phyrexian Merfolk Scout. When this creature transforms into Skyclave Invader, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, you may put it on the battlefield. If you don't put that card on the battlefield, put it in your hand. So when it transforms, you basically... It's basically... What's the... There was an ability in one of the Ixalan sets that look at the top card. If it was a land, put it in the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Or was it put it into the battlefield? Otherwise, you could put it in the graveyard. I couldn't remember which one it was. I can't remember. There was something similar. It's kind of like a pseudo. Moments of Truth. Yeah, that's the one. Just put a card into your hand. One on top of your library. No, one in your graveyard. One on the bottom of your library. Ren's Resolve. This is pseudo draw for red. I see this being a playable card. 2 mana, exile top 2 cards. You may play them till the end of your next turn. Urbrusque. 4 mana. First strike. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urbrusque deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add red. Dude. So every time, so you just use a whole bunch of cheap burn spells? No, you could just use a whole bunch of cantrips. 4/4 for 4. First strike. Whenever you cast instant or sorcery, Urbrusque deals 1 damage to target opponent. Add red. And then for a red, exile it, flip it. Activate only sorcery, and only if you cast 3 or more instant or sorcery spells this turn. Yeah, it doesn't have to be burn spells, just cantrips. I mean, they can be cantrips. They could cost 1 spell. You use all the mana, use the red mana until you get to the 3rd one, and then use the last one, red, to flip. It flips into an enchantment saga. The Great Work deals 3 damage to target opponent and each creature they control. Create 3 treasure tokens. And then step 3 is, until end of turn, you may cast instant and sorcery spells from your graveyard. If a spell cast this way would be put into graveyard, exile it instead. Exile the Great Work, then return it to the battlefield. And then you get to cast all the... So I guess you want to be using burn spells, right? Otherwise, you could be using... I guess you could be using... not just necessarily cantrips. You could be using it in a deck that uses, like, Enrage and a whole bunch of power-up spells, too. I saw this played against me one time, but I didn't really... I was already dead, basically, by the time it resolved, so I didn't get to see it really do anything. No, what are you talking about? Oh, wait, yeah, my bad. I thought we already got this. This is the same pack. We just flipped the rare, that's all. Or the mythic, I should say. Alright. I don't know if I'm really going to ever use that. We'll have to see. Alright. This one I'm interested in, the Botanical Brawler. Trample, green-white, enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters. When one or more 1/1 counters are put on another permanent you control, if it's the first time a 1/1 counter has been put on the permanent this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Botanical Brawler. There's another... Isn't there another... there's a Centaur from, like, M21, M22, or something like that does something similar? It's something to do with counters and getting counters put on it for other creatures with counters. Something like that. Or is it whenever a creature gets a counter... Whenever it gets 1 or more counters, put an additional counter on it. I can't remember. There's another Centaur that's the exact same mana cost. It's like a 2/2 or comes in with 2 counters. And it does something similar with counters. So I'd have to see how they work. Oh, we got a Mythic Wild. Wild Mythic. It's wild. Wild, I say. Zalfiran Lancer. Whenever another knight enters the battlefield under your control, Zalfiran Lancer gets +1/+1 till end of... +1/+1 and gains Vigilance till end of turn. It's a 3/3 for 3. Unfortunately, I don't think that's ever gonna see play anywhere. I think Portent Tracker is gonna see play somewhere, just because of its abilities. Like I said, just because this is untapped target land, I'm surprised it doesn't see play in Storm the Festival. So you can untap, like, a setup for an extra Nykthos tap. I would probably want to play it, but I haven't seen the deck list. Boom! There's another Mythic. I need rares. I need rares, man. Rares. Shauna, Sisay's Legacy. So is this Sisay's daughter? Green, white. Sisay's... Shauna, Sisay's Legacy. Can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent control. Why isn't it just... Target of ability? Oh, can't be the target of abilities, not spells. Just abilities your opponents control. Why don't they just give her hexproof? Just give her hexproof. I hate it when they give her... I hate it when they give a creature half hexproof and half protection from black and like you have keyword abilities, like, unless you're really trying to stop it from being like super overpowerful, but it's not just give it hexproof. Shauna gets +1/+1 for each creature. I mean, it's already restricted. It's a legendary. You can't have more than 1 out on the battlefield at a time. It's not that powerful. It's not a lord. I guess it's a human, but okay, it gets +1/+1 for each creature you control. Maybe they were worried about it being a powerful human. I guess that's it. In that case, I prefer you have protection from your opponent's spells than opponent's abilities. And then we haven't seen this one before. Scrappy Bruiser, 3 and a red. Scrappy Bruiser attacks up to 1. A target attacking creature gets +2/+0. Gains trample till end of turn. Return that creature to its owner's hand at end of combat. Return it only if it's on the battlefield. That's interesting reminder text. Raccoon Warrior. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to see much play unless in a very specific deck. Thalia and Gitrog. 4/4 for 4. Legendary creature, human frog, horror. First strike, death touch. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Alright. Ah, damn, this is not in the colors I need. Damn, I really needed this for my Windgrace deck. Right? Windgrace is red, black, green. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield. Tap. They basically just took the 2 abilities and stapled it on the creature. At least the other... Do they do this for all of them? Whenever Thalia and the Gitrog Master attack, sack a creature or land, then draw a card. just because of the way this one's, I mean, 4/4 for 4, first strike, death touch, playing additional lands, things entering tapped, sacking a creature or land, then drawing a card. I mean, the Gitrog on its own is a pretty good creature. It's really funny that she's riding the Gitrog. I think that's hilarious. This seems like more of a comedy thing. She's got an armored Gitrog monster. How did she tame that thing? I kind of like it though. Something about it. I know that seems like that should be comedic. Like the Gitrog monster shouldn't be tamed probably. But I don't know. I don't know any of the lore behind it, so I think I do like that card. I mean, tough times call for, you know. She's probably like, I need something. And she's like, fuck it. I'm going to go get that fucking frog. Finn the Fangbearer. See, I like this art. That's what the art that's why the art for the ones from the Egyptian set. For some reason those feel so underwhelming. So crappy even. But these ones, like a lot of the other ones seem, I'm not just talking about the mythic ones. Even this, like this is an uncommon, like some of the other uncommon ones I got. This one's great. It's got like the Celtic stuff all over the sides. That's why in the Egyptian ones they could have had hieroglyphics all around the sides and stuff, like real hieroglyphics. But the ones that they had in the framing, I thought it just looked so like someone just took 10 minutes to do it. Not in the paper set. I'm talking about when I just opened up a pack here and looked at it. Finn the Fangbearer, 1 and a green. But I like this one. Even the art for, not just that, but the art that this person did looks pretty good in this thing. I like that thing in the background. It's a human warrior, but there's like this weird dragon serpentine, like a world serpent in the background. Finn the Fangbearer, 1 and a green. Legendary creature, human warrior. Death touch, whenever a creature you control with death touch deals combat damage to a player, that player gets 2 poison counters. Oh, it's that one. I like that, I can't remember what the set was called, but the Viking set, basically. A lot of the creatures with death touch. There was like it was like death touch tribal. There was a lot of stuff to do with death touch. So that's something they hadn't done before, that I think they hadn't done before. It was the first time I had seen it, so I liked it. So this is a card that I like, but this is a card that I like, but we've seen it before. Inspired Charge. Creatures you control get +2/+1 till end of turn. Oh, if this one had Convoke, this needs Convoke. See, this is a card that needs Convoke. Otherwise, I think this could be a good popper card. I mean, this is just obviously 4 mana. You have, 3 or 4 creatures on the battlefield at the very least, and play this. Zephyrian Shape. It is an instant. Yes, instant. I was gonna say if it was a sorcery, then it's crap. Zephyrian Shapecraft, 1 and a blue. Target creature has base power and toughness 4/3 till end of turn. Draw a card. Since it draws a card, I would like to. That it doesn't take away abilities, so you could have a flyer and give it 4 power. Yeah, I see this as playable somewhere, like a pauper card or something. It replaces itself. You get to draw a card. It's like it's a blue pump spell. Or if they have a big creature, you can give it less power, or give it less toughness and kill it if you have something with 3 power. I think it's a very usable card. There's some stuff you can do with it, and the fact that it replaces itself, 2 mana. Invasion of Eldraine. That's what it was. The King Arthur set, Eldraine. 3 and a green. Oh, 3 and a green. 3 and a black. When Invasion of Eldraine enters the battlefield, the target opponent discards 2 cards. Okay, I like that. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 2 or fewer cards in hand, Prickle Fairies deals 2 damage. Oh, this is the one I was thinking to put in my Gilt Leaf Winnower. Is that it? Gilt Leaf Winnower deck. It's a elf, green-black elf, legendary elf, I think. I think it's Gilt Leaf Winnower. That whenever an opponent discards a card, you get a 1/1 elf token. And so you put this one, and then you put like the rack. You also put one of the cards is like you put a rack and a whole bunch of other cards that when a player has, you know, like fewer, they get more punished the fewer cards they have in hand. So they lose life or something. Yeah. So you want to make them discard as much as possible, get a whole bunch of 1/1 tokens, and then you put a whole bunch of punishment cards in the deck so that they get punished really bad. So yeah, it's kind of like a 8 rack commander deck almost with elves. All right, so flip. Another Urborusk. There must not be that many mythics. We've already gotten plenty of doubles. Oh, there's one we hadn't gotten yet. I've had this played against me several times, and it's fucking annoying. Ugh. Invasion of Tarkir. When it enters the battlefield, reveal any number of dragon cards from your hand. When you do, Invasion of Tarkir deals X plus 2 damage to any other target where X is the number of cards revealed this way. So it automatically deals 2 damage for sure, and then you can reveal, you know, obviously any number of dragons to deal more damage. So you don't even need dragons in the deck. It's just pay 2, do 2 damage, and then if you deal 5 damage to it, this is exactly what a battle really wants. The front side lets you hit damage to anything. It can grow if you have dragons in your hand. Like the person that I played against played one of these, killed my creature. I got the battle. He then played a hasty dragon on his side. I'm trying to think. I can't remember what it was, but he played a hasty dragon. He didn't play a hasty dragon. He played a normal dragon. The next turn, he used another one to damage the one he played previously. He did like 3 damage to it, and then he smacked the rest with the other dragon he just did, and then he got a 4/4 flying trampler on his side, right? And then he got another one of these sitting across the board from me. So yeah, it was just annoying. So I think that's probably one of the best or better battles right there. We've seen all of these except this one. Invasion of Vryn. There's a battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard a card. And then it turns into an artifact. 1 tap, sack overloaded Mage Ring. Copy target spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. I remember seeing, like, during the M20 set. Not M20, M10? Yeah, that's what it was, M10, right? That's when I played. I played a red-blue. Yeah, Vryn. Vryn's Prodigy. There was a card. It was Jace Vryn's Prodigy. Did we ever go to that plane? I remember there was cards that had these circles. These magic circles. I wonder if we ever went the Invasion of Vryn. I don't think we ever got to go to this plane. So is this a plane that we're going to go to eventually? I mean, it might be devastated, unfortunately, because of the... So we've already... This is one I'm interested in. Unfortunately, Gitaxian... very worse Gitaxian Pro. I mean, it doesn't even do what Gitaxian Pro does, but... The Eyes of Gitaxius. Flash, Disturbing Conversion, 1 blue. Flash, enchant creature. When Disturbing Conversion enters the battlefield, each player mills 2 cards. Enchant creature gets -X, -0, where X is the number of cards in its controller's graveyard. Interesting card. And flip. Got another Azuri Claw of Progress. So I think overall, these Mythic packs were pretty good. What What I'm interested in is seeing if we get more of the Mythic packs and we complete our entire playset of Mythics. Do we just start getting wild cards for the Mythic packs, or does it start giving us rares? I mean, I'll be fair, that would really suck on the Wizard side if the Mythic packs would just give you rares. It feels like they should just give you Mythic wild cards if you invest the extra coins. If you're investing the extra coins, you should get Mythic wild cards. Yeah. But I don't know yet. I have no idea. I might have to look it up before we even do it, just to check. But this, I mean, it is a good way to fill out your Mythics, so you don't have to have Mythic rares. Surprisingly, I think it's just because there's, how many? I want to say probably 7 out of the 10 or 6 out of the 10 we got double Mythics. So over half of the 10 pack, about half of the 10 pack, half or more of the 10 packs, we got double Mythics. So that's pretty good. So I think your odds are probably 50% or more. I'm not sure. There might be an actual odds thing on there, showing the numbers on the packs. They might have to legally do that somewhere. But your odds for getting, I might have just gotten really lucky. That's true. But so far, I didn't pay for anything though, so that's good to know. Like, I don't put any money in. Okay, that's not true. Way back when I first started playing, I did spend $100 to get my collection going from the very beginning. But that was like way back when MTG Arena, like, probably first relatively launched, like after the first year or so. But ever since, I haven't paid any money. So I didn't even, like, I'll be fair, I bought one box of cards, so 100 packs or whatever, 90 packs, right? I got like the 190 pack thing for, I don't know, when it was around Ravnica. I think it was around Ravnica, somewhere around there, one of the Ravnica sets. I can't remember which one. So that's the only thing I've paid for, and I realized how much of a waste that was. But otherwise, I didn't have really anything to play with, and that's the one thing. I think they need to start you off with like at least a viable standard deck or something when you first come in. Otherwise, you have nothing, and they need to entice you a little bit to play. Okay, you have here one viable deck, and then, yeah, okay, I'm getting bored of this deck, right? It is viable. I'm getting some wins. I'm having fun, maybe, but I'm getting bored of this deck. It happens, right? You don't want to play with the same deck over and over again. So you want to get more cards. Yes, you get packs and rewards and all that kind of stuff, but you need specific cards. So that might entice you to do stuff. But like, if you come in otherwise, like, you can't play standard, you can't play anything really. You got to just lose, or you got to find a very, very specific. Early on, there was less powerful decks, but nowadays, there's like Historic, Explorer. Like, maybe it's easier to get away with some stuff in standard that are common and uncommons. Like, I don't want to say cheaper, because like, you're not really technically spending money, but like getting away with commons and using common and common and uncommon wild cards to make an half okay deck that'll get you through some of the beginning ranks. But I don't think you can do that as well now. I don't know. Maybe like red deck wins uses a lot of commons and uncommons. I'd have to check. So maybe that one's a viable one to build early on. I have to see what the most viable one is for. Well, I say viable. The easiest one to build when it comes to like common, uncommons, and wilds. What's the cheapest one when it comes to wild cards? So, but anyways, so but this is not too bad. Double, like I said, over half of them were double mythics for 1,300 coins. Obviously, it doesn't help you fill up as many of your common and uncommon slots, but it definitely helps you get your mythic, your rare and mythics. We got a lot of doubles. Obviously, I kind of wish we got more of the Invasion of Tarkirs, because I think this is a good card, and I think there actually is a deck going around in Historic right now that plays well with this. I think it's like not an Esper, it's a Jeskai, so red, blue, white. Yeah, red, blue, white. So we'll see. But having more of these, it just means. But that's why they need it. They really need to. A lot of times I don't need mythic rares, but I need like 3 times as many rare slots, because there's a lot more rares than there are mythic rares. Like, a lot of times a deck will use only a couple mythic rares, and most of the cards that you need are rares. And, I mean, normally in Paper Magic, that's good, because your pocketbook tends to not get hurt as much. But in this case, I need to be able to take my Mythic Rares, wild cards, and break them down. At least, like, can I take a Mythic Rare and break it down into 2 rares, please? Or even if I can just devalue the Mythic Rare into a rare when I need it, why can't a Mythic Rare turn into a rare card? I mean, it's a Mythic Rare. Why can't it turn down into a card that's at least lesser value? I haven't tried it lately. Maybe it can. But at least before, it couldn't. So maybe I can try in the future and see if it does. But anyways, that's it for this pack opening. I think we got some good stuff. I liked a lot of the cards. Some of the cards that we got are new, interesting. I'll have to check and see if these cards with this symbol here, I can't show. Ugh. If I try to go over on the large image, can I? No, if I right click it, it doesn't enlarge it. If I left click it, does it enlarge it? No. I'm trying. I wish you could enlarge it. But that symbol, instead of the March of the Machine symbol, it shows this symbol. I don't know if that means it's not standard. It's like I can't remember what it's called, but it's the special cards that you can find in the set, which aren't standard playable, but they're reprints. Normally, you know, they're like full art. They're like the they're like the original Zendikar rare loot cards. You know, treasure cards, whatever. They've been doing them every set now, but I don't know if it's standard playable. We'll have to check. We'll have to check and see. So, yeah, but we got quite a few good cards, quite a few doubles, and I think I actually like the Mythics, but if you're looking for rares, if you're looking just to fill out your rares in general, obviously I still think the regular packs are what you're going to need. If you want to fill out your Mythics, obviously getting the Mythic packs are probably the best ones. And also the Mythic packs, like I said, you get so far we gotten a lot of doubles, gotten a lot of double Mythics, so they're not bad in that way. Only for 3,000 extra coins for 10 packs. I don't think it's a bad spend, to be fair. So yeah, I will see you guys later for some games. You guys have a good one. Bye bye.